So I think I should start class today. So good morning to everybody. So we are discussing a support vector machine, and in the last class we have discussed the concept of building a support SVM model, and today we'll check how the SVM model can be implemented. Right? We have the idea about what is the principle based on which SVM works. So the principle is that we have to search for a maximum margin hyperplane. We have to search for a maximum margin hyperplane. Now, how this maximum margin hyperplane can be searched out of infinite, right, hyperplanes possible? Then there is a method, and this method is called Lagrangian multiplier method. The Lagrangian multiplier method is mainly used for solving optimization problem. Our SVM in fact turns into an optimization problem in fact. Now, so far this optimization problem is concerned, as we had discussed, that our optimization problem can be specified using this formulation. So equation 17 tell you that mu is the objective function. In this case, objective function is defined in terms of unknown parameters. The unknown parameters are w and b, out of which w is a vector and b is a scalar quantity, right? And this objective function is defined as w by 2, where w is the magnitude, which is expressed in equation 16. So we have to find w and b value so that mu dash is a minimum value. So this is actually to search for unknown parameter values, and then there should be a constant. The constant is that for each training data, which is defined as xi, yi tuple, where xi is a vector and y is the class level. And as I have mentioned that, okay, we are considering binary class classification. This means that yi value has only 2, right? It is +1 or -1. So xi comma yi, this is the training tuple, and we consider n number of training tuples. That means there is a training data set of size n. Now the constant is that for each training data, the values of the unknown parameter w should satisfy as mentioned in equation 17. So this is actually the optimization problem. So optimization problem here to solve what should be the value of WB which satisfy all the n constant. To solve this problem, as I told you, there is a Lagrangian method, because our optimization problems comes under inequality constant optimization problem. So we have to have the method. Okay, we can apply Lagrangian multiplier method to solve this kind of problem, and we have already explained in the last class that what is the concept of Lagrangian multiplier method. So the first step which is required in the Lagrangian multiplier method is to define your Lagrangian L. So Lagrangian L is very simple. It is fx plus for all the constant, in this case n constant, suppose so I equals to 1 to n, lambda I into, this is the equation, that is yi multiplied by w dot xi plus b minus 1. That is actually the thing. Here lambda I is the Lagrangian multiplier method. Now second step is to define the KKT constants. So here, what are the KKT constant? It is shown in this slide number 43. So it is the first order derivatives of L with respect to all unknown. Lambda I should be greater than or equals to 0. No negative value is acceptable. Hix less than 0, that is the constant. And another constant is that lambda I into hix is equals to 0. It should satisfy. So this is the Lagrangian constant, what is called the KKT constants. And these KKT constants, if we apply for considering all training data, it will give you a number of equations. So this is in fact a system of equations, and those system of equations can be solved using any numerical method, and by which we can find unknown parameters. I will give you an example how to apply actually this concept to a very simple one data set so that you can understand the whole concept better. So let's come back to our original problem. I have already told you the optimization problem in our case is minimize mu, which is w by 2. But if I take w square by 2, then also there is no harm. It will remain the same impact as w by 2. But I am taking w square by 2 so that our subsequent computation becomes very easy, and it will not be a time, what is called the, it will not be an expensive operation. So because w, if you take the magnitude, it is a square root of w1 square plus w2 square plus dot dot wn square, and it becomes a costly operation. So we can take w square where the square root can be avoided. That is why I am taking this one. So it is okay, equivalent, w square by 2, and then you can take it should be plus lambda I into all constants. Our each constants that is given there, yi w dot xi plus b greater than equals to 1. But it needs that it should be less than equals to 0, right? That is why we can take the negative sign, and therefore we can write lambda into yi w dot xi plus b minus 1, because because this part, if you check it, this part, if you check it, it is less than or equals to 0. Okay, but here the minus sign is there, so it is minus. And there are a summation should extend over n, because we have to take care n constant, and each constant for each training data. So our training data is like this, xi and yi. And here the lambda I is the Lagrangian multipliers, right? So how many Lagrangian multipliers? Therefore, it is n number of Lagrangian multipliers are there. And so now you can understand. So in this Lagrangian, what are the unknown parameters? Unknown parameters is a W matrix, unknown parameters is a B value, and another unknown parameters is a n Lagrangian multiplier pairs are there. So these are the, okay, so Lagrangian multiplier method will help you to find the values of all unknown parameters, and we will see exactly how it is possible. Now let us first proceed for the second step. Second step is having this is the Lagrangian, we have to find the KKT constants. So as you can recall, we have given the slide 43 where the KKT constant. So here one unknown is W. So we take the first order derivatives with respect to LW, and this will give you, this is a simplified equation. So W can be simplified as I equals to 1 to n lambda I, yi and xy. Now there lambda I needs to be learned, of course, we shall learn from the solving this KKT constant. Yi is given to our, its value is either plus 1 or minus 1, and here xi you see it is a vector. Vector means it has k number of components if the k features are there. Okay, so xi is a vector of k dimension, as you can see. And here you see lambda is a constant value, is a scalar quantity, y is also constant value, is a scalar quantity, but xi is there. But we can multiply a scalar quantity to a vector, so no issue. So this is fine, and this will give you an idea about how the W value can be obtained. I'll tell you exactly with an example that how W value can be obtained, because W is a matrix. So a matrix means it has n, okay, if the size of the matrix, the one-dimensional matrix is say k, then k different values are to be calculated here. Okay, now next is that another unknown is B. So we have to take the first order derivatives with respect to this unknown, and this is equals to 0. And this will give you another simplified equation. As you see, this is I equals to 1 to n lambda I into yi equals to 0. That means our lambda I value should be in such a way that lambda I multiplied by yi for each training records, it should, okay, summation should be equals to 0. And these are the two constants regarding the first order derivatives that will be equals to 0. And then next constant is lambda I greater than 0, and this will be true for all I equals to 1 to n. That means there should not be any values of the Lagrangian multiplier which is the negative value. So this is another constant, and then next constant as per our equation is given there. So all the lambda values should satisfy this constant, and this is very important, right? One expression we should note it because it has one implication. I will explain it. So lambda I into yi dot xi plus b minus 1, this equals to 0. That is actually lambda I into the constant, this equals to 0. And this is the constant that is already, okay, so far our optimization problem is concerned, that also needs to be satisfied. So here the idea is that all these unknown parameter W, and then the unknown parameter b, and then all lambda I should satisfy these are the constant. Now here I just want to advise you to note this expression. Now this expression says that lambda I multiplied by this equals to 0. So lambda value will be greater than or equals to 0. If lambda is equals to 0, lambda is equals to 0 means this is equals to 1. So this is equals to 1. This implies that xi, this is the value, lies on the boundary, right? So if lambda is equals to 0, okay, so lambda is greater than 0. If lambda is greater than 0, as it is a multiplication of two terms, so if lambda is greater than 0, then this needs to be 0. The second term should be 0, and second term is 0 implies that w dot xi plus b minus 1 equals to 0, right? This means that w dot xi plus b equals to 1. This means that xi should be on the boundary, because w dot xi plus b equals to 1. This is the equation of our hyperplane boundary, and our xi, the training data, right, the ith training data should lie on the boundary. Now what is the meaning of that? The training data or a vector which lie on the boundary, this is treated as the support vector, because they are the critical training data which decides the margin of a hyperplane. So the lambda I is greater than 0 implies that corresponding to that lambda is training data or ith training data is a support vector. On the other hand, if lambda I equals to 0, this is ignorable. This is ignorable mean it is somewhere, okay, in a particular region, but not on the boundary. Now here the question you can ask that, okay, if suppose you consider n number of records, n may be say 500 training data, right? Out of this 500 training data, how many are the possibility of support vectors? Whether it is a 50-50 or 10-90 or 90-10. What I want to say that 10% is a support vector, 90% is a non-support vectors, or 50% is the support vectors and 50% are the non-support vectors, or 90% is the non-support vectors, or 90% is the support vectors and 10% is the non-support vector. Okay, so there are three possibilities. You understand? So I just want to mention here, if you try with many training data set, you will say that maximum 5 to 10% are the support vector. That means 5 to 10 lambda is out of 500, 5 to 10% out of 500 lambda is values will be non-zero, I mean greater than 0, and all others is lambda equals to 0. Now this is in fact have a very real one important implication so far the solving this problem is concerned, because this leads to a fewer computation, because if lambda I is equals to 0, the most of the things that you don't have to calculate, but you have to calculate only those for which lambda is greater than 0. So it is 5 to 10%. So out of 500 maximum, so 50 equations will be there, and that you have to solve it, and then you get the value either for B or W and all those. So it is very easy, therefore. Anyhow, whenever we discuss with an example, then we can understand this concept further better. I will discuss it again so that you can understand it. Now, okay, so second step so far, the solving our linear SVM problem using LMM, right? That means the KKT constant. I hope you have understood. Okay, our next part is solving these KKT constant, and then all those KKT constant can be solved using any numerical method, because it will give you a large set of systems of equation, a system of equations, and those system of equation easily solvable because these are linear form look like, and then you can find all the unknown values that we have there. Now, after having the parameters values, unknown parameters, so suppose we solve the problem, that means linear SVM problem. Solving the linear problem means we have the value of W and also we know the value of B, right? Then W dot X plus B is your machine, right? Now this machine will give an output. I told you that what output it will give you. Actually see W dot X plus B is actually a hyperplane, right? It is the equation of an hyperplane. It is a hyperplane. So this means that it will divide the hyperspace into two regions. Now one vector if in this region and another vector in this region, then it will return either positive value and negative value. And if some vectors are on the thing, it will be 0. Okay, so this if a vector, if suppose there is a vector which lie on this boundary itself, that is actually support vector. Your unknown data may be that okay lie on this also. Now in that case you can take that okay in which side is a plus or minus, that will be decided okay randomly, that okay it is okay there either it is a plus side or minus side, or it is, you can say the undecidable because it is on the margin actually. Okay, anyway, so the idea it is that so this okay for an unknown value x, right, this will give you a value. That value will be either positive, negative or 0. Okay, so if it is positive, then we can say that this vector that means unknown vector x belong to plus class. And on the other hand, if it is negative, then we can say that the unknown vector is in the negative class. So this way the binary class classification is possible by using linear SVM. Now here again, if it is on this, right, if it is on the hyperplane it is itself, then you see our hyperplane boundary, right, our hyperplane boundary, that means this is actually your hyperplane, right, and your margin will be two parallel boundary, right, now if it is equals to 0, then what will be your decision? Anybody can tell? That means if w dot x plus b for some unknown data x gives you 0 value, if positive, negative, no issue. Positive means it belongs to class plus, negative means it belongs to class minus. Now if it is equals to 0, then in which class it should be? Anybody can give the answer?
So can you repeat the question again?
I am repeating the question. X is your unknown vector to be tested, right? That you have to test that in which class it belongs. This is clear?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now we have already solved for the values w and b. So w dot x, so it is actually a dot product. It will give you a scalar quantity plus
Yes.
b is a scalar value. So this will give you a scalar value only. Now this scalar value has the three cases: positive, negative value or 0 value. Now what I want to say, if this value gives you a positive value, this means that the unknown vector x is lying above this hyperplane. If it gives negative value, then we can say it is lying below this hyperplane. So it is plus and minus like this. This is clear? So knowing the sign of the value, we can predict that in which class the unknown vector x belongs to. This is clear?
Yes, sir.
My question is case 3. If for some unknown vector x, w dot x plus b return 0 value, then in which class it should be? Plus, minus, plus or
Sir,
minus?
it is on the hyperplane.
It is on the hyperplane. W dot x plus b is actually hyperplane. It is on the hyperplane. That means it is like this here. Then whether it is in plus side or minus side?
Plus, sir.
We cannot determine.
You cannot determine.
Undecidable.
Yes.
Undecided.
Undecidable.
Stochastic.
No, it is not exactly undecidable. I am telling you, it is decidable. Okay, that is what I just want to point it out. Now tell. So it is w dot x is the hyperplane, right? And these are the margin, right? and our actually lambda value that we have calculated based on the support vector. Our support vector, right? You can recall it. Our support vector here, right? Some support vector here, some support vector here, some support vector here, right? Similarly, this side also support vector here, support vector here, support vector here, which decides actually the boundary, right? And knowing this boundary, we know margin, right? That is the hyperplane. So hyperplane is actually another plane parallel through this one, but just in between the two boundaries. Now, if it is there, then what can be understood is that okay, so all the points which are on this side, they are positive, and all the points which are on these sides, they can be considered negative. Okay, similarly, if one value it is right, so it can be right, we can take a decision that it can be a right, it can be a negative value. Is it okay?
Means, sir, it is dependent upon us that we can decide whether to take it as negative or positive.
Okay, now that is what. Okay, so it is actually, you are right that it is actually, because if I take this boundary with respect to this boundary, this value is in negative class. But if you take here with respect to this boundary, this can be taken as a positive class. That is okay. We can understand that this is a bit undecidable. But how we can make a final decision? Because undecidability cannot be considered. Okay, if it returns 0, then what you should do?
So which boundary should we use?
Yeah, so we have to check that, okay, in which, right, whether, right, okay, can you find any ideas for that? Is what I want to say. So I should not tell. The problem I have given to you, but you have to find an idea that how you can decide about what should be the fate of this vector. Like, we have to take a decision whether it belongs to plus or minus. There is no undecidability that, okay, I cannot say that it is possible that it both belong to plus or both belong to minus.
Sir, if any support vector is, we can calculate the Euclidean norm with the nearest support vector and take decision according.
Yeah, good. So that can be a possibility, right? That can be a possibility. And yes, that can be a possibility. Good idea. And there definitely. And then another idea I'm telling you, right? You can check that whether this idea also works for you or not. Then I can check that this point with respect to this boundary, because we know that equation of this boundary. With respect to this boundary, this point is right in which side, either this or this side. Okay, but it will again with respect to this one in which side. Okay, it will anyway undecidable. But anyway, so distance calculation can be one good idea to decide about that. Okay, it is the maximum possibility that it will be belong to this plus class or minus class. That is the best idea, I think. And regarding this thing, there is another concept. Okay, it is called the soft margin concept. But soft margin concept, although slides are there, but I will not be able to cover because of the shortage of time. Anyway, so this is the one problem that you have to think about it, right? You have to search that, okay, how the best solution the people have advocated, or you can find a best solution that you can see. Now let's come to, so this actually delta x. So delta x means what is the value that we can have for an unknown x. So this delta is actually your classifier, right? Delta is actually the decision I can see. So delta x is actually your decision. And now you see, you can recall W, as I told you, W is equals to lambda I yi dot xi and summation over to n. You can recall it. So W dot x, that means this is the summation multiplied by x, and plus b is there. So here you can note that in order to have a decision, you should know a priori the values of lambda I, and yi xi is already given for the training data set values, and x is actually the unknown value. Now what I want to say that this is known. So this is known, this is unknown value, that is fine, we have the value. And here that, okay, in order to have this decision, we know that lambda I values to be known, to right, beforehand. Now lambda I value, as I said, how many summation or sum terms will be there? Only those so many sum terms for which lambda is non-zero. And already I told you that out of 500, maybe 5 to 10% are the support vector for which lambda is greater than 0. So there are actually only 5 to 10% terms are there in this sum. This means that calculation for the decision, that means calculation for testing for an unknown vector in which class it belongs, is computationally very fast because it needs fewer computation. 5 to 10% what is called the sum and then multiplication. So it is not a very big computation or complex computation so far. So that is why support vector is machine is very fast so far testing time is concerned. But only model building time is little bit lengthy because you have to solve the problem to get the values of unknown W and B using Lagrangian multiplier method. But even then, the Lagrangian multiplier method, out of many optimization problem solving like genetic algorithm and colony optimization or particle sum optimization, it is even the fastest also. And more important point is that Lagrangian multiplier method does not tap into the local optima. It always guaranteed to give you the global optima. So these are the real benefits that okay, we can have this support vector machine and therefore we can have this idea. So I hope you have understood the concept of linear SVM. So this is a linear SVM. Now let us have an example so that we can understand this concept better, right? I can tell you one example. This is an example. It's a very simple example. Let us consider this is your training data that is given to you, right? Your training data consists of 10 records, right? And all these records are two-dimensional data, right? So these are the values. So this is the record 1 and this is the 10th record and so on, so on. So having this 10th data, and then you will be able to apply the Lagrangian multiplier method too, so the 10 inequations will be obtained. For these are the class level, plus and minus. So 10 inequations and then mu W square by 2 minus this equation, that is the Lagrangian, and then you can find the Lagrangian KKT constant giving this data. So KKT constant can be obtained. After obtaining the KKT constant, a system of equations that you will get, you have to solve using any numerical method. Many libraries are there. And this solving equation method will return you the values of lambda I is first. So take the values of lambda I. Now here you see out of 10 records, only two records, which actually two data for which lambda is non-zero, that is greater than 0. That means they are support vectors. So in this example, these are the two only support vectors. That means they are lying on the margin boundaries. And all other, so these are all non-support vector. They are actually not the boundary. So if you have the picture, then you will be possibly able to see this kind of pictures that if you, because it is a two-dimensional, you can readily plot a graph and you can show it. And as you see, these are the one type of data and these are the one type of data. We can say these are the positive class data and these are negative class data. And these are the two support vectors for which lambda I we got the non-zero values. Now we have then we got the lambda I, so that is what the lambda I value it is reported here. And after knowing the lambda I value, then we can calculate the W value. Now you see, because I told you in order to have the W values, then we have to apply the lambda I. Now the W value, as you know, they are actually it is a matrix, right? So it has the two component W1 and W2. That means two unknowns values are there. Now here W1 actually, if you see, we take for each test vector the first component. So it is a test vector for which xi1. That means it is the first component of the first test data.